Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the ThePCelitist. My name is Woodsy. I'm sorry I'm posting this a day late. I have a schedule in my head where it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday are the nights I record, and I do them after work, and then I post that evening. Sometimes it doesn't get up till like late at night, but it's when I do it. And yesterday, because of the festivities, I was at a barbecue that was basically hours from my house, and I didn't really get the opportunity when I got home just because I was really tired, and being really tired and exhausted does not help you make a good video. Not an insightful one anyways. It could be funny, possibly, but not insightful. And I try to be insightful. Sometimes I'm not as insightful as other times, but we do try around here. So thank you everybody who commented on the last video. We talked a little bit about VR gaming, and everyone's comments seem to have a consensus about that it'll be a cool thing that PC gaming does, just one of those other cool things about PC gaming, but I think it'll have an explosion of activity when it first releases to the public, and then it will kind of calm down. And there will be certain games that do it well and some games that don't. Someone mentioned, I'll never remember where it is now. Someone mentioned about horror games, how it's probably awesome for horror games, and I think it was like The Real Simmons or something like that who said that, which I completely agree. I can't wait to play some nice horror games in a VR headset. Thank you, Frosty, for commenting. Singularity, Public Retard, The Real Simmons, Greg, always good for a comment, and the Wildemar channel. Thank you very much for commenting on the video. So, a comment that had kind of stuck out to me was not on the last video, but the video before. And it had to do with Rock, Paper, Shotgun, because I had mentioned that I enjoy that channel, and I had been thinking about it a lot today. It was kind of a relaxing day at work. It wasn't that busy. And when it's not that busy, I actually like to go into the warehouse of my job and like build armor out of boxes. I don't know why it's relaxing to me, but it's something I do. Anyway, so okay, so he mentioned that he doesn't read the Rock, Paper, Shotgun anymore because they had touched on some social issues like a year ago, and he didn't like that, and that's why he stopped reading it. And I agree, because when you get into like politics and social issues on a gaming site or whatever, it can leave a bad taste in your mouth, and I get that. That's not enough for me to like not read something if there was like a political or social bent to it. But and ultimately, I really don't mind it that much, as long as you're trying to be honest and have a logic to what you're saying. And the reality is that this channel, in my mind, is that kind of mature gaming channel where we talk about adult stuff, but we love video games at the same time, and it's centered around video games. So I wouldn't be surprised if something social or political that has to do with video games, that intersects with video games for some reason, and then it's talked about. I wouldn't shy away from it. I'm certainly not looking to talk about it, but I always want to keep the subject on video games and PC gaming, but if something is very prominent in the news or what have you and is being talked about, I feel it's like my duty to talk about it and give my opinion on it in an adult and mature way if I can hack it. That's what I'm really going for. I remember Rock, Paper, Shotgun a while ago. I think it was a few years ago. They had done a story on when the Anita Sarkeesian thing came out. And the thing that really annoyed me about their article is that they disabled the comments on the article. And that, I'm really against censorship for the most part. So that was very frustrating to me. I just thought it was really insulting, because I thought, hey, who is the most likely person to comment on a Rock, Paper, Shotgun article? Well, probably people who read Rock, Paper, Shotgun. So to me it said, hey guys, this is our opinion on this, and you guys are just going to read it, and we don't trust you enough to comment back. And I just find that insulting. So I don't know if they still have that philosophy, like if today they would do the same thing. But you know, I I don't. If you're gonna engage in a subject, you're just gonna have to deal with the consequences of people commenting, and you not. I don't think that you're allowed to be, talk on high over people and say this is our opinion and you're not allowed to give yours, kind of situation. Especially in a opinion piece. But I do remember, this is a funny story, like when we first started this channel, I was doing a lot of researching of other channels of similar size, basically gaming channels starting out. And I found this one guy, and I don't remember his name whatsoever, but I remember in his description, he had rules for the channel of things like things you're not allowed to do as commenters. And one of them was, it's like normal stuff like, don't be a jerk, don't say these things, these horrible things. And one was, you're not allowed to talk about politics, which is fine, like if you have that rule. But then his next, like in parentheses next to it, it says all politics is stupid. So I didn't continue looking at his channel because he just broke his own rule kind of in that one little statement. Like, I'm going to say my statement about politics, that it's all dumb, but no one's allowed to talk about politics. And that kind of stuff drives me nuts. So I just want to forewarn everyone that I'm not looking to talk about that stuff. But if something is happening in video games and that's where the subject matter intersects, we might have a discussion on it. But that's good because I want to keep this adult people converse with each other and share ideas and try to ultimately refine our ideas so that we're just not a bunch of ignorant a-holes who don't listen to other people and don't try to find the best solutions for things, because that's ultimately what we want to do. But that whole rock paper shotgun thing that got me thinking about another subject, something more recently that RPS posted about video games that I completely disagreed with, and I just wanted to kind of throw my ideas out to you guys and see what you all think, and feel free to stir the pot and tell me I'm wrong if you wish, but here it is. So they had a list, and I want to say this was last month or something. They had a list of like 10 words never to use again in video games, and there were like a lot of words that I use, which I found funny. But one of them was, I know one of them was immersive, which I probably said like 4 times during this video, and I've said it a bunch of times in every other video. But they said objective was a word never to say again. Now, I kind of, okay, their reasoning was that in the arts there's no such thing as objectivity, and that it's all subjective, and I don't agree with that whatsoever, because there's so many things that we compare video games often to movies and books and TV because they're media, but they're really different than media. They really have a different aspect that those types of media don't have, and that's the interactive aspect. So I think the mechanics of video games really sets them into their own arena. So whereas TV and movies are like more of a passive experience, that you watch something and I watch something, and you take it in the same exact way that I take it in. The way you play and the way I play can be completely different. So there's obviously like a different level when it comes to video games, and that's the mechanics of it, that's the interaction of it, and that's how well it works. So I think there is more argument to say that we have to have objective scales, especially when it comes to the functioning of the thing. I don't think anyone could argue that. And I'll compare it to like architecture. Like, you could build an ugly office building and have it function as an awesome office building, and it could be like a great office building, like just the best. It like has everything you need, but frankly it's just ugly. It just has no flair to it. It just functions well, and you could say, well, it's a great office building. It really is, from like an objective scale. Like, it functions as an office building. It has all the needs our office needs of our company. It fills everything. It's just not pretty. And I think so there's a lot of like mechanics of the office building that goes into it, much like a video game. Like, you can even make a comparison. Like, the game is ugly, sure, but it works great. It's like the Arma series. Like Arma 2 was ugly. Oh my god, it's so ugly. Like it's just an ugly game. And I apologize to any artist working on that game, but it's just the art of the game is not what draws you there. It's that the game functions a certain way in the way you want it to function, and that's what draws you to the game. The art of it is almost secondary. And then you have something that may function really well and exactly the way you want it, but like a building, like it's a great office building, and it looks great, and it appeals to my aesthetic, and there's like another level to it, and the aesthetic part is more subjective. But you can't get around the fact whether the thing functions like it's supposed to. Is it supposed to be an office building? Is it supposed to be a house? Is it supposed to be a hospital? Is it supposed to be... What is it supposed to do? And games, unlike other media, do something. And I think that's where my view of objective scales come into play. Like, especially like the arcade and immersive and like those types of things. I should really make a list eventually of the different scales that I think I use when it comes to judging video games. But because it has to work as something, like if you said, look, I want you to try this. It's the most immersive experience you've ever had, and you play it and it's like Spider Solitaire. You go, this isn't immersive. This is maybe a fun game, sure. I mean, I like playing Spider Solitaire, but this is not an immersive experience. It's just the game design isn't meant to be immersive, therefore it's not immersive. There's nothing about the way it functions that makes it immersive, but there's certain things you could do that can make it immersive. In fact, if you want to keep going down that road, what if we were using... That was a great segue here. We got to use a VR thing. So you put your VR headset on, and it makes it feel like you're in a casino at a table playing cards, and it feels like you're in a casino playing cards. That would make it a more immersive experience, right? So, but it's following certain rules to get you there. So it's really... I want you to all think about this. Maybe some people are like, no, it's all subjective. But if you've ever said to yourself, and you can use this on other people, maybe there's other people who have the same viewpoint, that, in the arts it's all subjective. But if you think about this statement. If I said to you, it's a good game, though it's not my style. It's a good game, but I don't really like that type of game. If you've ever said that or heard that and not disagreed with it or whatever, like if you think that's a completely acceptable comment, you have to understand that that's using some sort of objective scale to say that comment. Because if I could believe something's a good game, it's just not my type of game, I have to believe that it's reaching some other standards that are just not important to me. And that doesn't mean they're not important. In video gaming, they're just not important to me personally. And so I think that's, if you think it's all subjective just based on your point of view, then I don't think you really use that statement. And I think it's a like a mature way to look at things. Like, I might not like it. That doesn't mean I think it's terrible. I just don't think it's that really for me. That's all. And I think in the same way, you could say, this is meant for someone like me, but it's terrible. And have that discussion. Or, you could say that it's not for me and it's also terrible. So I think you could have all the mixtures in there. But, if anyone disagrees, please let me know. I'm perfectly willing to open up the discussion on the matter. And I look forward to doing another recording tomorrow. So I hope you all have a good Wednesday. And then Friday will be like right around the corner. Right there. Then we can play some more video games over the weekend. I appreciate you all for listening. I will see you guys next time.